Welcome back to the Haircuts and Uppercuts podcast with me and Rob. So we both got it wrong with Frampton on the weekend. I think deep down, I thought it was going to be Tommy Coyle all over again with Jamie Moore throwing a towel in, which I said to Rob off camera. But, you know, we're both massive Frampton fans, and I think we're just going with our hearts instead of our heads, aren't we?
Yeah, I think Frampton, he outdone me, didn't he? My performance on the podcast on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, getting all emotional.
Yeah, but no, absolutely gutted for him. He the better man won. I think for me, Frampton, the third round kind of got back into it because of the cut. He's having to cut and land in it, a bit like Ledison against Vitali, but he's not his old self, is he, Frampton? And fair play, he's gone out. Fair play to Herring.
Yeah,
that's all I can say, really. Fair play to Herring.
Thing is, obviously, we're not going to go on about it too much because there's a couple of big fights this weekend and there's a lot to talk about and only so much time. But it wasn't until they was in the ring together you really notice the size difference. And I just kind of thought, well, do you know what, man? It's your third weight division you've gone up to. Like, fair play. Like you did your best. You give it a go. It's not your natural fighting weight when you was in your prime anyway, and there's no shame in losing, is there?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I thought, goes up right and you kind of think, okay, but from the first round he got beat to the jab, the second round he got beat to jab again, and from the set go it weren't going to happen, was it?
No, and Herring's huge at the weight anyway, and Frampton's tiny at the weight.
Yeah.
But fair play to him. He dared to be great, and he'll still go down as one of Northern Ireland's greatest fighters, Ireland's greatest fighters.
That part of it's a massive shame, isn't it? If he did win that night, but I think he bit off more than he could chew. And he went over to America, he beat Santa Cruz. That was his momentous moment. For me, looking back at the fights after that, that's when he should have walked away from the sport, maybe a fight later. I don't know. What do you think of that?
I don't know. Obviously, it doesn't seem punchy. He doesn't seem to have any serious life-threatening injuries from boxing. Like, you listen to some boxers talk and they sound punchy and you think, Jesus Christ, like you shouldn't be allowed to box anymore. Like, or you should have retired earlier. I'm not going to say any names. There's certain boxers that I listen to him speak and I think, fucking hell, how have you passed your brain scan? Like, you didn't sound like that 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that I'm not a doctor, so what do I know? But
did you see his wife's tweet after the fight? Literally immediately after the fight was, "We wanted them out of there years ago. Thanks for all your support." So his family are all on board of him, retire him, which is understandable.
Yeah, fair play to him. He had a great career. The better man won, and worst MC I've ever seen. But
I don't. It was our friend John put in the group chat. It was been at a cattle market sale, which that really cracked me up.
He said he'd heard better MCs at the cattle market.
That's it, wasn't it?
Parmesan.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But Frampton, he's to me still he's one of Britain's all-time great fighters.
What did you say last week when he was pissed?
I said he was the best boxer in British boxing at the time. What I meant to say was he was the best British boxer in Britain. There we go. So, great career. I mean, he's up there with the Hattons, isn't he? The Hattons, the Frotchers, probably above them even. He's for me.
I don't know, man. Like, don't get me wrong.
He's achieved more.
Yeah, like they'll only have to be one Ricky Hatton, but I don't think Frampton's far behind him, to be honest. Like, the amount of British fans he took with him places, and the amount of, I know that we have quite a lot of people in Australia that actually listen to our podcast because I can see on the Spotify analytics. just because we're Great Britain, for people who don't know, the English, the Welsh, the Scots, the Northern Irish, when it comes to sport, we do not support each other 90% of the time.
Yeah, 100%.
Like rugby, football, you name it.
Yeah.
So for a load of English, Scottish, and Welsh people to get behind the Northern Irish fighter, it's it's not as common as some people would think. It's especially in sport.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we all have our allegiances, don't we, here and there?
Yeah.
But,
you're wearing yours.
Well, yeah, obviously we've got one on Georgetown, Middlesbrough. No, you're completely right there. What you say, Luke. For the amount of people to get behind Frampton as I'm a man. I'm British. I've got a very big, strong family connection to the Republic of Ireland. Carl Frampton is what you would call a unionist in Northern Ireland, which is completely what my family would not go with. But we all support him. We all think he's flying the flag for Britain and Ireland. So backing up your point there, he's a lot of people from the UK and Ireland support him, and that's all purely based on his boxing skill and what he's achieved. So
and I think the fans connected with him, didn't they?
100%, yeah.
It kind of the Ricky Hatton type, like say, it's type of geezer to go for a pint with you afterwards.
Yeah, I kind of found as well when he went to Germany, fought Scott Quigg in Manchester, and it was Scott Quigg going. And I mean, they just outnumbered Scott Quigg supporters, didn't they? The Northern Irish. Well, whether they were Northern Irishmen from Southern Ireland or the UK, or whether they were from London, Manchester, wherever, they were all Frampton fans in there because he knew he could do the job. He'd done the job. He then went abroad, beat Leo Santa Cruz. What a career! And that guy, it goes down, as I just said in the last podcast. I'm a bit more sober now, but he, for me, he goes down as a kind of Joe Calzaghe type boxer. Yeah. For me, he really does.
So it's quite fitting. We move on to this week's fight card as one. Curtain closes on a fighter, another opens on one.
Conor Benn.
Yeah, he's 17 fights deep into his career, but it's starting to get serious now.
And he's fighting Vargas, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a serious fight.
Which that's a tough fight for him. Tough fight, good fight. Conor Benn comes through this in flying colours, and I'm talking flying colours, not a knock. Everyone wants to see a knockout. But if he wins this fight convincingly on points, then Conor Benn is serious business here.
If he outboxes him, it says more about him than it does about him knocking him out. Because you look at Conor Benn's record, like he's got a decent KO record.
Yeah.
Not everyone has got a 100% KO record. Not everyone punches as hard as Deontay Wilder. But for a welterweight to have 11 knockouts out of 17 fights,
it's rare for a welterweight. Actually, it's just good you point that out. Actually,
a lot of people will go, "Yeah, he fought a couple of taxi drivers and bin men and whatnot at the start of his career." Knocking a man out, still knocking a man out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Luke, this fight he's taking against Vargas, Vargas has been there with good fighters. If Conor Benn does a job at him, for me, that's okay. You're what you're talking yourself up to be. For all the casuals, maybe not. But for me, he beats Vargas, does a good job on him. Yeah, Conor Benn is. I'm going to be very seriously looking at his career from now on. Yeah, and it opens up avenues, doesn't it? Where could he go next? Will we get a Chris Eubank fight? That could be down the road for him if they might meet at a catchweight, etc.
Well, I don't know. I know Eubank's got another son around that weight category.
Yes, he has,
turning over. I can't remember his name because I know he's got Harlem and that, but he's got quite a few kids that. Obviously, Chris is the most famous out of them.
Yeah.
But, I just kind of think back to when Conor Benn turned pro, yeah? Like, watch his first fight, obviously, it's Nigel Benn's son. I'm going to watch it, just like when we watched Campbell Hatton the other day. It's Ricky's son. You're going to watch it. And for the first couple of fights, if he gets to area level, wins a Southern area or in English, that'd be cool. And then it's like, we could probably win a British title, And obviously it hasn't fought for a British title yet. And I kind of think he's gone past that already.
Who's
Like,
it? Conor Benn.
yeah, you think
Yeah,
like a couple of years
Luke.
ago,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I remember thinking if he gets the British level, fair play to him. But
Yeah.
he's improved a lot.
I mean, I'm the same as you, mate. Well, when I first watched, when Conor Benn first came on the scene, I was kind of sat there thinking, oh, he's only there because of his dad. And how hyped was I for Hatton at the weekend? It's just the same thing. So I cannot talk there. But
The thing is, they are only there because of their dad.
no, yeah, well, maybe not. Maybe not. I had one view of one of it. Conor Benn for me is only his dad, but Hatton, brilliant. He's gonna be the next best thing. Conor Benn's backing it up, and if he beats this guy, he's backing it up.
Yeah, but I mean, like they literally are only getting the prime time television slots when they're turning over, and because of who their dads are, there's no argument over that, which arguably has got to put more pressure on them. You think like Conor Benn,
Yeah,
Campbell
probably.
Hatton, they've had hardly any amateur experience, and they didn't even compete at the top level in amateurs.
I think Campbell Hatton had pretty much zero amateur experience.
Well, as a senior, we only had a handful of fights, I believe.
Yeah.
So you think, yes, they're on the big stage because of who their dad is, but yes, that's brilliant because there's more eyes on your career. But at the same time, that's a lot more pressure.
It is pressure. Yeah, you're right. It is pressure.
And fair play to, Chris Eubank, because he was the first one to do it. And then fair play to, Benn and Hatton.
Well, I think the first one to do it was Chavez Jr., weren't he? He was the first one to really live his dad's name, weren't he, and get into it. And he done well. He did do well.
Yeah, he did. But I was just thinking of the British boxers because obviously, but yeah, Chavez Jr. definitely he was the first one of our generation probably that would know. But yeah, fair play to them. Like they're all three of them. Their dads was legends as well. Well, four as well with Chavez. But I just think fair play to Conor Benn. If he's bitten off more than he can chew, I don't know yet. We'll find out on the weekend. And
I'll tell you what, Luke. If he beat, even if he beats Vargas, even if it's by a split decision, I'm sat there. Fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play. Opening doors for himself, brilliant. It's a tough, and what I like about it, he's taking a tough fight very early. That's what I like about it. People are right. He's had 17 fights. People have to appreciate he's not had the same route as the likes of Anthony Joshua's, etc. He's not had that route. He's taken a fight with Samuel Vargas, and he's had 17 fights.
Yeah, I like Conor Benn as well. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I've not been too indulging him, but I think I will be after this fight. I'd urge everyone to watch it.
But it's like when Josh Kelly fought David Avanesian. Conor Benn was there at ringside. He'd called out Josh Kelly in the past, and he said that Josh Kelly's going to get beat. He said Avanesian was, going to outwork him and get the win, and he was right. Obviously, he saw something that no one else saw. And he didn't disrespect Josh Kelly when he lost either. There was no it wasn't, I still want to fight Josh Kelly. It was, nah, I want to fight Avanesian. He beat him. I want him now.
Yeah.
The guy's a nutter as far as I'm concerned.
Well, he said so, and he's realistic, isn't he? He said, I'll be sat here after the loss one day having an interview with you guys. Yeah. That's kind of Benn who said that, weren't it? And that's, you can't get more honest than that. But yeah, great character, but even more for me, he's taken a big fight, which I don't feel a lot of boxers do or have done in the past 5 years or so. So him taking this fight, I'm all for him doing well in this.
Yeah.
So,
and obviously, Shannon Courtenay is on the undercard with her WBA. I know you're pulling the face. I know what you're thinking. Hopefully,
no, I know. This should be Rachel Bull's fight, shouldn't it?
It should be.
It should be Rachel Bull there. But fair play, Rachel Bull, Shannon Courtenay, fair play to her. She gets in. If she does the job, fair play to her.
Yeah, I hope she wins it. And hopefully she's coming on the podcast in a couple of weeks. I spoke to a middleman of mine, one of my friends. And he said she'd happily come on after her fight, so hopefully that comes about.
No, brilliant. For me, the interesting fight there would be the Shannon Courtenay Rachel Ball rematch because it was a close fight. It was a close fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good fight.
I think what done it was Courtenay got dropped.
Yeah,
that was the. It was such a close fight. That's probably what done it on the scorecards.
So I've made no. I don't care. I quite like Shannon Courtenay. I know some people like her, some people don't. Some people, think that, where is she come from? Who is she? She wasn't a decorated amateur. She hasn't got a famous dad like Benn. But I've always kind of liked her style of fighting, and I'm glad she lost to Rachel Ball. Not
do you reckon it kind of.
Well, it adds more depth to the division. It adds more depth to the division because, I know who Rachel Ball is from kickboxing, right? You know my background's kickboxing, and I know who she is, and I know how good she is at fighting, right? Rachel Ball is a serious fighter. And there's no shame for Shannon Courtenay losing to a former world champion kickboxer.
Yeah.
But it kind of brings more eyes to the women's divisions and the women's side of boxing. I don't like saying the women's side of boxing because boxing's boxing, right?
Luke, I can only compare that to when Ronda Rousey lost to Holly Holm in the UFC. Holly Holm came in, had no UFC, but she had a very fucking good boxing background.
Yeah.
Rousey had nobody, and she just beat her up. And that opened the door then. That opened the door.
You think,
styles.
Some of these women's fights, they're more entertaining than the men's. I know a lot of people are arguing for the 3-minute rounds and stuff, but because of the 2-minute rounds, it's more of a sprint. So
I mean, the one I really enjoyed, Luke, was Katie Taylor when she fought on the Josh Honor, and the first fight
was wicked.
I thought Taylor lost it. What a fight! Whatever way you want to call it, what a fight that was.
Yeah, it was wicked, wasn't it?
And that was a great advert for women's sport. And to be fair, I thought Courtney Ball 1 was a great advert for the sport.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I couldn't call that fight. It was so close. And yes, it's unfortunate that, in such a close fight, someone's got to lose. But draws are boring. No one wants to see a draw.
There's no need for... There's a reason for a rematch now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but I think Ball was meant to fight... is it the Australian Ebony Bridges?
Ebony Bridges is fighting Shannon Courtenay now, which is...
Well, no, that's what I mean, but that was meant to be the fight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Until Ball got pulled out. So even that alone, if Shannon Courtenay wins that fight, we've got a fucking spectacular rematch.
It'd be a unification fight.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Exactly. So
that's why I say I'm glad Shannon Courtenay lost to Rachel Ball. Not because I don't like Shannon Courtenay or anything. It's because it adds a bit more depth to the division. And when there's that rematch, and it was a close fight the first time round.
It was a close fight.
And now it's going to be a unification world title fight if Shannon Courtenay pulls off the win on the weekend. That's just going to be wicked, isn't it?
I also thought as well, after that first fight, Rachel Ball went on, won the interim title.
Yeah.
And that kind of shows
she's not a mug.
She's not a mug. It's going to be, the rematch will be good.
Yeah,
and there'll be a bit of more, bit of spice in it, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There'll be a bit of that.
But does make me laugh at Ebony Bridges though. Like she basically wears like the skimpiest underwear she can on
to be fair, Luke, I've never actually watched her box. I don't know if she's good. I think when I've seen her next to these people, she kind of towers above them.
Yeah,
but that means nothing, does it?
No, but I don't know. Part
if she's got boxing ability, it does mean something. I don't know. I don't know what the competition is she's faced.
Yeah, but part of me thinks like you don't need to dress like that at the weigh-ins. Like we only care about your boxing. If you're good at boxing, that's what we're here to see. Like
you're right.
And the other part of me is just like it's not. She's switched on. Like let's face it, sex sells. That's why they use good-looking women in adverts.
It's not even that. I mean, I can't remember a big Australian boxer. The last one, Lucas Brown, probably.
Big Daddy Brown.
And who's the punching school teacher who got a dodgy decision over Pacquiao? what's his name? Ginger hair bloke.
I know. I can picture his face. I just can't remember his name. It's so bad.
Yeah,
Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn.
Jeff Vaughan. He's amateur level at best. Well, no, that's a bit rude. I shouldn't say that. But like Elaine Bridges is a big deal, and Charlotte Rousey was a big deal, and for American women in UFC. Yeah, it's great to have her there, and we're talking about it. We are talking about this fight, and we're talking about. And then what's even better about it? We're not just talking about that main event fight. We're talking about what happens after. Will Bull fight Courtenay? Will Courtenay rematch Elaine Bridges? And I can't remember when people were talking about that. And fair play, women's boxing, all right. It's not got enough exposure yet, but I'll tell you what, they've had a good go at getting it there, and it'll only get bigger, right?
Yeah, it's like when Katie Taylor turned over, and she's not the first female fighter to turn over. A lot of people. She's the first high-profile one to do it, really, apart from Layla Ali, I suppose. But Katie Taylor's absolutely mustard. I mean, she's. I want to say the female Lomachenko, but she hasn't lost on paper. So
that's the only thing when that result in the Josh Urie's undercard, and that kind of women boxing was at a fucking high then, and obviously the judges had to fucking taint it, didn't they?
Yeah, but then
as they normally do. But that was a shame for me because it was a close fight. For me, if anything, they should have called that a draw. Yeah, and it was a bit of a taint on it because it's a new thing, it's up and coming. But no, they had to do what they normally do in America.
With the judges scoring like the women's fights, because it is a 2-minute round, maybe they are harder to score on a professional point system.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Because, well, obviously I'm not defending them at all, but you think you're used to scoring a 3-minute round fight for years.
Yeah, but these people are paid good money to do this.
Yeah, they are. But we're in the same boat. We both think that ex-fighters should be judges because
100%.
Fat old men in suits that have never thrown a punch in their life. How can they score a fight? Yeah. Same as where
I think Scott said on the podcast before, like, I want to know what they're doing, or are we just missing something? We're either stupid and thick, and they know it all. Yeah, but the majority, but not 95% of people disagree with certain boxing sanctions results, don't they?
Yeah, well, we're not the only people that think it. The Fight Disciples think the same.
Yeah.
Adam Catterall and Nick Pete. If you're a boxing and UFC fan, you're going to know who they are. Nick Pete was a former editor of Fighters Only magazine, and he kicks off constantly over it.
I mean, I've said this for years and years. The only reason the UFC has got on level with boxing is because of poor judging in boxing and poor corrupt and fights not being made, and the UFC capitalise on it.
Yeah,
and the UFC will not use certain commissions out in America. Adelaide Bird made a crap decision years ago in the UFC fight, and they basically said we do not want her judging our fights.
Yeah, and then look,
she was off and she was off straight away. But boxing, that's all right, and the UFC capitalised on that.
Yeah, well,
hence why. So, and and going back to the point we were actually originally talking about, like women's boxing, it's going somewhere. But that hiccup in New York was bad for women's boxing.
But it's justifiable. The side shoot of conversation is justifiable because if you want to build the sport, if you want more girls to get into boxing, don't show them being robbed.
Exactly. Yeah.
If there's not that much depth in the division anyway. Exactly. I've got 2 girls, and Ava, as you know, she loves boxing.
Oh yeah, she would easily chin me.
Mate, I think she eats nails for breakfast, man. Like she's tough, and I can sit there with her and I can show her a Katie Taylor fight. I can show her a Shannon Courtenay fight. I can show her a Rachel Bull fight, Savannah Marshall fight. And she can relate to them because it's girls. Whereas, before, I'm like, oh, look, here's Anthony Joshua fighting. Like, you could do that one day. No, I can't. It's a boy. But, as
You're
girls
right. You're right.
girls going to grow up and they need to see people on the TV who are, they can relate to, that are doing well in something that they could do.
And at the same time, the fact that they can, like Katie Taylor's probably the first one who's earned big money out of it, right?
Yeah, probably.
Ronda Rousey was the first one who earned big money out of it, and it's good for them to see that. Just for me, that decision in New York was a fucking hiccup, and that was all down to the commissions.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna bang on about that. But you know how much I hate boxing commissions in America.
But yeah, there's another world title fight on as well. WBO middleweight title, Savannah Marshall.
Yeah, she's good.
She's mustard, man. She's mustard.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's be honest. We want to see her fight Carissa Shields, don't we?
Yeah, well, she beat her in the amateurs, didn't she?
Beat her in the amateurs quite convincingly. So this is that's the fight we want. I think they're going to have to make a weight, aren't they? Because they're fighting different weights at the moment.
Yeah, but I think with Carissa Shields, obviously she's never fought out of America yet. But
a lot of Americans don't, do they?
No, but she's won multiple world titles in multiple weight divisions already. And, I can kind of see where Savannah Marshall's coming from with the, you should come to England and fight me, I beat you in the amateurs. But I can see where Carissa Shields is coming from. She's like, I am the greatest woman boxer of all time, as she calls herself. I've won more titles in more divisions, and
but it's the main thing, though, isn't it? Like for Carissa Shields, for me to think that she has to take on the challenge, there'll always be the question mark: did you fight Savannah Marshall? No, you didn't. And they have to have that fight. That fight has to be made. Yeah. For me, for her to have any credit on that statement, that fight has to be made.
Yeah. Otherwise,
imagine if Mayweather never fought Pacquiao.
Yeah.
My question would linger over the career. All right, it was too late, and we all know that. But imagine if he never fought him.
The thing is, like you say, it was too late in that.
It's way too late.
Yeah. At the time, I thought that, yeah. But then you look, Manny Pacquiao is still fighting and winning world titles now.
No. If Floyd Mayweather fought Pacquiao after Pacquiao knocked out Hatton, that was the time to make that fight.
Oh, yeah, it'd have been brilliant.
That was the time to make that fight. And that would have been... That was another one. The boxing public got robbed of a fantastic fight. You go back to, big fights need to happen for people to remember. So Carissa Shields can sit there and bang on about I'm the greatest, but I mean, can you name a fight? I can't name a fight where she's known as the greatest women boxer ever. Fight Savannah Marshall adds to legacy. If Mayweather never fought Pacquiao, he wouldn't have this legacy he has now. All right, he fought Pacquiao 5 years too late, but he fought him. It's like Khabib McGregor, right? Maybe a little bit later, but he fought him and he beat the fuck out of him.
I must admit though, the night at Scott's house for Mayweather Pacquiao was one of the funniest nights watching boxing we've ever had.
I don't know if any of you know Ryan Daly. He stole
someone's McDonald's.
Free McDonald's meals, wasn't it? Fair play to him, man.
Absolutely comatose on the sofa.
Smelled a bit of pussy in the wake up, didn't it?
Yeah, snatched their McDonald's, ate it, and told him to leave.
Good on him.
What a lad.
But,
it was funny that night. But yeah, I think it's quite an interesting weekend of boxing.
Yeah, it'd be interesting again, and the boxing's coming, it's flowing, it's brilliant.
It's getting better as well.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that, and kind of you're seeing all what's being announced and what's kind of in the fringes. Talking about Terence Crawford v Manny Pacquiao. I mean, if that happens, what a fight!
Yeah, well, my opinion on it. I said earlier, I think Pacquiao should just retire now.
I mean, I would say that, but what he done to Furman was unbelievable. It was unbelievable, wasn't it? And that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but
pandemic in between. He's still got it,
I literally said 5 seconds ago he's still winning world titles, which he is. He does hold a world title. But I just think, Terence Crawford is probably pound for pound top 10, and Pacquiao isn't no more.
We disagree on Crawford, don't we? I mean, I've not seen a stand-up performance come from Crawford. I've not seen him beat anyone who's a complete up their world standard. I've not seen that from Crawford.
So my first memory of watching Crawford fight is when he came over to England to fight Ricky Burns.
Yeah.
This is down at lightweight, or might have even been super.
Yeah, I remember watching that.
Yeah, we was watching it together in the pub in Amersham. I was battered, wasn't I?
Yeah, that's your seg. Was that your seg day?
Yeah. And
if you want a steak dealer, guys, go to Amersham.
And just get battered and sit and watch the boxing instead of going out. But I just remember thinking Ricky Burns is gonna like absolutely smoke this yank. I was like, who is this unknown American coming over here? And at the time, Ricky Burns was in his prime. And he fucked Ricky Burns up.
Yeah, but Ricky Burns was never going to be on that. All right, what Crawford done then, fucking fair play. But Burns was never going to be on the level Crawford's on now, right?
Well, Ricky Burns went on to be a freeweight world champion.
True. Yeah.
Yes, they might have been selected world titles.
As Crawford have been.
Yeah. So
I mean, Crawford for me is not. Crawford needs to do something more for me. He needs to jump off the page a bit more. He's not done that. He's not fought an active. He's not fought someone active who is at the fucking peak of their prime. He's not done that.
No, but I think that a lot comes down to promotion side. I don't.
Which you all agree sucks with boxing, right?
Yeah, but apparently he doesn't do the ticket sales. He doesn't do the numbers to warrant his paying for these big fights, apparently, which I just don't get it. How can you have a multiple weight world champion that you can't be asked to market and put behind, like a bit of money behind to market? It's business.
Maybe don't want the fights, mate. Maybe don't want the fights.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I kind of thought people bang about Mayweather, but I think he avoided big fights for years. I really do.
Yeah, but he marketed himself still. Like
great, yeah, great. He did, and Crawford needs a big fight.
He does, and he needs
a big
market
fight
himself.
How are people like Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez? I get Lopez has just beaten a multiple weight champion, and he's beaten a unification champion. So Teofimo Lopez, I get that he can rub sunset, do whatever he wants. But how are people like Devin Haney? And who's a kid who beat Campbell?
Ryan Garcia.
How people like him have a better profile than Terence Crawford?
Marketing, man.
Marketing who they fight. Terence Crawford would not have fought a Luke Campbell when Ryan Garcia did. Wouldn't have happened.
No.
Wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I know what you mean, like a Luke Campbell type fighter.
These young kids in boxing now are taking risks and they're reaping the rewards from it.
Oh, mate, the lightweight division is on fire now.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Best division in boxing.
Like the welterweight division 10 years ago, that was on fire as well.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Crawford could make it on fire again. There's some brilliant fighters in the welterweight divisions, and they're just not fighting each other. But oh well, that's for another podcast.
That is a very good podcast we could do, because I would love to get into it right now, but it'd be silly too.
Right. My cat is attacking me again. She never wants to talk to me ever until I'm sat down on this bloody laptop, man. I can't wait till we're at the shop doing the podcast from the shop, or doing it from your flat after all these restrictions are gone, man.
Yeah, no, we'll have a podcast at the flat, hopefully, in just over a week. So got everything set up for it. So yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll be doing one from my shop. It's going to be sick.
Shop. Haircuts and uppercuts is making
waves.
Making big movements, man. So
yeah, man. There's a lot to come.
We'll have a Watford promotion party on the last pod.
No,
yes, we are.
No,
yes, we fucking are. Well, I'll quit then.
You'll do nothing. Well, I would say we could do a Huddersfield Town one, but I couldn't name one player for Huddersfield Town.
Huddersfield Town? Who the fuck are they?
I don't know. Some team my dad supports.
You didn't get bullied and supporting a shit team like my dad done to me.
No. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. And we'll be back, and we'll be doing a review show first of all, we need to, before we go, we need to call it. Just the three main fights: Savannah Marshall, Shannon Courtenay, and Conor Benn.
I'm gonna go. The Shannon Courtenay one's the one I don't know. I've not seen enough of Bridges, but I'm gonna go Courtenay.
Okay.
By points. I'm gonna go for a Benn win via knockout.
Yeah.
Big shout, but yeah, he's stepped up. He's obviously confident in himself.
Okay.
I'm gonna go for a Marshall win as well. A Marshall win, points.
I'm going Savannah Marshall win by knockout.
Okay.
She's only had 9 fights. She's got 7 KOs, man. She ain't going to points.
Yeah, she's mustard. She's mustard.
She's hard, man.
Yeah.
Shannon Courtenay, I'm going to go for a points win. And Conor Benn, I'm going to say points win. And I reckon he'll have a tough couple of rounds, but the rest he'll breeze.
I don't know.
I reckon he'll have a tough patch, but I reckon he'll win it.
The confidence of him taking this fight, he's going in there to do serious business and serious damage, mate. And I hope he pulls it off. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
I'm on the Benn hype train after he's announced this fight.
Yes, same, but I want to be different too. So
don't get drunk.
Don't drink. But yeah, so I'm going Conor Benn, points win, but he has to come through a couple of tough rounds. Shannon Courtenay, points win, and Savannah Marshall, mid-round stoppage. I reckon she stops in the mid rounds.
So we agree with the wins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we agree with the winners. So yeah, it'd be interesting out of boxing. And I'm sure we'll do a review on a Sunday morning or Sunday midday or Monday. So keep shooting, guys.
Yeah, well, it'll probably have to be the Sunday because I'll reopen on Monday and I'll be mad busy.
But I might be hungover. No, I'm joking.
Better than being pissed, isn't it?
Yeah, true. Yeah, fucking lot better. I've done one of each, haven't I?
Right, thanks for listening. Brilliant. And we'll see you again soon. Wicked. Peace.